Hey everybody, if you're just joining me right now, hopefully my audio works. We're about to get started here. Just gonna make sure all of our equipment is rolling and doing what it's supposed to. If you're here and if you can hear me, go ahead and let me know where you are from in the comments so I can tell that I've got this working right. Okay, Joanne, hello, Denise. Wendy, it works. Okay, great. Always good to know that things are working the way that they're supposed to. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is Ginger Williams, live here today with Queen & Company's latest kits, and that is a plural on kits. We do have two wonderfully fun kits to launch tonight. We are introducing the Fossil Friends and the Prehistoric Pals kits, and these are such amazing, fun kits. I have had an absolute blast working with them this week, and honestly, I have had a blast working with them from the design phase of the kits all the way through actually playing with them when they come out. It's one of the best parts of my job is getting a chance to take something that I want to use and create and then bringing it to you so that you can do the same. And having been a mother of three little boys, they were little at least at one point, it's amazing to be able to think about some of their favorite things and turn that into a product and then have a chance to use it on things that remind me of them. So a very special and dear to my heart kit that we are releasing today. So there's a few of my samples that I worked on. Let me take you over to my desktop though, and let's talk about everything that is in this kit and maybe give everyone else a few minutes to come, let's see, and join us here. It does look like we have quite a few of you trickling in. And I've got, let's see, I've got your comments running here. It looks like lots of you are saying hello. All right, from all over. Hi, Nita. Hi, Kim. Annie, Karen, a couple Karens, Denise, Linda. Oh, a lot of my people I consider friends too. Deanna, Lynn Pierce, thanks. It's so fun to see so many familiar faces. Most of you have faces as your profile picture. A few of you have other things too, but it's good to see all the familiar things. Let's see, Paula, Debbie, Deb, Sandy, hello everybody, including Sandy, hello from Houston. That's where I am at as well. Well, a suburb at least. Sandy, Cynthia, Linda. Okay, all right. Mammoth is your favorite, Linda? All right. Well, hey, let's talk about what actually comes in the first kit. This first one here, this is our fossil, or I'm sorry, this is the, yeah, let me bring it all over here so I can show you everything that we've got. I need to bring my iPad over. But here, this is our main kit that we are launching tonight. And this one is called the Fossil Friends Kit. And this kit is kind of similar to other kits that we have launched in the past year in that it has a whole bunch of pieces to customize one shaker to make a bunch of different dinosaurs. Actually, even more than dinosaurs. There is a mammoth in this kit as well. So if you've liked our Safari Friends or our Woodland Creatures kits, this one has a similar concept. And so you'll get the shaker body pieces and then all of the accent dies, and there's, I think, nearly 40 dies in this kit to help you create all of your different, what's the right word? Different, I want to say dinosaurs, but it's not just dinosaurs because there's the mammoth. All of your different prehistoric creatures. How's that sound? The other kit that we are launching tonight is called Prehistoric Pals. This kit is a shaped shaker kit, and that means it's a little different than the kit I just showed you. It means that it's more open to you to customize how you want. You notice it doesn't have toppings and it doesn't have a paper pad with it. However, of course, you can pull right in the paper pad and the shaker toppings from our Fossil Friends kit. They work beautifully together, and you can see that's what I and most of our designers used with this kit. However, maybe you've already got some great dinosaur papers in your stash that you've been dying to use and needed a great reason. This would be a perfect kit to put those to use, as well as if you've got a lot of toppings already in your stash, in your craft stash, then you will be all set to get moving with this kit. I do want to say that I really do appreciate your comments, and I am going to go ahead and select one person who does leave a comment, a randomly selected comment tomorrow morning, as a winner of a $20 Queen & Company gift card. So please do leave your comments, leave your thoughts about what you like best. We have 2 kits. You can let me know which kit is your favorite, or if you want to just pick a shape from among the 2 kits, please let me know what some of your favorites are that we're demoing tonight, and that'll help me have some comments to choose between when I get ready to draw our winner tomorrow. Okay, so along with these 2 kits, so let me go back to the first kit, the full kit. It does have the dies. It does have the stamps. It does have that sheet of foam shakers and the acetate covers that match. It has the 6 toppings. It has the paper pad. And if you are a fan of having everything, oh, and I should mention before I move on that if you look over, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor or not, but if you look into this particular, I think you can, right here, this is the outline die. Just like with Safari Friends and Woodland Creatures, you don't need separate outline dies for this kit because there's only one shaker shape. Actually, technically, if you look right here, see there's 2. One of our shapes, the Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus, depending on how you want to name him, he needs a long neck. So these 2 are our shaker decorative dies that cover up the foam, but you use the same piece of foam. So you only need 1 outline die for this set, even though technically there are 2 bodies. But the only thing different about this one is that longer neck. Okay, but however, with our Prehistoric Pals kit, you are going to want to look at the possibility of adding the outline dies. And here's what they look like. And in case you happen to be new, what are outline dies and why would you want them? Well, 2 reasons. 1, do you have to have them? No. If you're willing to either trace around your foam, stick your foam right directly onto your card, or freehand cut around your foam, should you want to create a background, a back cover of your shaker, then no, you don't need those. And we definitely have customers who are fine with doing that. They take the savings and don't worry about that. If you prefer not to fussy cut, if you prefer not to stick your foam directly down on your card, this makes life much easier. So it's a convenience item. Decide if you have to have it or not, but that's what those are for. Also, if you like to create your own refills, these are perfect for cutting your own acetate cover refills. Okay, so the main difference between those 2 kits in terms of purchasing is these outline dies are included with, or the outline die is included with the Fossil Friends. Prehistoric Pals, consider adding that. Both of them have their, foam refills if you want to get your foam and acetate covers. If you want a bunch more than what's in the kit, both of them include a bunch in the kit, but if you want more, you can pick that up. Also, matching epoxy dots in colors that match the papers in this kit, such a wonderful thing. You'll notice that I went through 2 whole sheets of them on my samples. I just love that they match and I didn't have to hunt through my stash for anything, trying to figure out if it would get the right color and if it would coordinate well. You can also pick up some additional shaker toppings, although I did also notice that Wendy is actually offering some of those free with, I believe it's a $50 purchase. Let me pull that up. Yep, free fossil topping with $50 order. So that's going to be after your shipping, taxes, and discounts. So you can even add some extras on there. They work perfect for both kits. And of course, you can pick up some extra paper pads. Nice to have the solids that match. And this is a personal favorite paper pad of mine. I feel like you can just never have enough great boy options. And I loved picking out the colors for this paper pad. And I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm going to be reaching for that a whole bunch. Okay, there is a bundle. I don't think I have an image for the bundle. We'll just go look at my cards again for just a minute so that you can see what we have here. Back to my desk for a minute. If it'll let me go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's also, if you want it all, I believe Wendy called it the Want It All bundle, is on the website, and it does have both kits, the Fossil Friends and let me pull these over, and the Prehistoric Pals. So there's a close look at some of the artwork for Fossil Friends, and there is Prehistoric Pals. It also has foam refills, I believe, for each, an extra set of the paper pads, both the solids and the actual pattern paper. It also has the epoxy dots, and it has the outline dies for the Prehistoric Pals, and it also has, nope, the extra toppings are not in there because you get that free. If you purchase the bundle, you will definitely qualify for the free extra toppings. One thing you should note is that it does not necessarily include the fun other new product that is launching today, which is this, the Big Wishes new title die. And that is a really fun one that, is designed to work well with these shapes, although it could work well for a lot of different things. Birthdays or congratulations, but particularly when we're talking about these fun, large, prehistoric dinosaurs or animal, then this is a fun new product also launching, but not in the big bundle. So if you're looking for that big bundle and you think you have it all, don't forget that you may want to have the Big Wishes title. Let's take a closer look real fast at the papers. Like I said, the color scheme is a personal favorite of mine. And of course you have, as usual, your tone on tones, with the flip side being some of those patterns. And then of course you get several of each. There is a fun one, kind of a bit of a scale or skin pattern that I really had fun using with my dinosaurs. And I've already been using this one a little bit, so the papers are starting to fall out. But here is more tone on tone with more stripes. And let's see, what else do we have here? Some more fun blue, almost scaly-like papers. And normally scaly-like papers doesn't sound very appealing, but for dinosaurs, and I love this. Look at this paint splash paper. This might be my favorite paper in this particular paper pad. Again, for dinosaurs or maybe boyish cards. And it has that fun orangey yellow color on the back. Some more fun bright patterns, more tone on tone. And then of course, maybe this is my favorite. Look, let me bring it up real close. Let's see if it'll focus. Look how cute. Little mini dinosaurs, your volcanoes, all the different little pieces of a prehistoric scene. That is definitely a fun one. And just miniature, I used to love making cards before I was designing my own product with scrapbook papers, and the patterns are great, but they're often just too big if it's on a scrapbook paper for card making. Here it's petite enough that you can still use it on a card, have it show without it overwhelming and taking over your card, as well as if the pattern's too big, you can't tell what it is. But here, small enough you can easily see what it is, doesn't overwhelm your focal point. It's just a great way to have petite patterns, and as always, our papers are full of them. Let me talk a little bit about what's in the stamp sets. So you can see I've already used mine a bunch, but here is the stamp set for Fossil Friends. And the sentiments, as always, we try to give you a wide variety that help you celebrate lots of different things. So you've got "You are a dynamite friend." "So sorry you are Jurassic. Feel better quick." So even a get well card could be made with this kit. Or how about "Baby? Congrats." Oh, sorry, this is birthday. And we did have a little maybe too much fun coming up with puns to maybe celebrate those of us that are not so young. "Congrats on being born a long, long, long time ago." Now, my mother has some sisters, and they just have such a hoot picking out birthday cards for each other, making it clear who the oldest is. And so I thought of them a lot as we put together this stamp set. They have a fun time, razzing each other a little bit over their birthdays. And that includes this one here, "1 year closer to extinction." Or for our woolly mammoth, "Have a woolly good birthday." For the Triceratops, we have "I hope your birthday is tops." "You're extraordinary." Another one for your aging friends, perhaps, or those that you like to tease a little bit about it. "You can cross dying young off your list of things to worry about." "Dream big." If you want to be a little nicer, maybe. This is "Dynamite News Congrats." So off of birthday and on to congrats again. Or just a simple "hello." "Rar" means "I love you" in dinosaur, and we also have that over here for thanks. "Big thanks." "I think you are aurorable." "I woolly like you." Wouldn't that make a great anniversary card? "T-Rexcellent job. Congrats." So a couple options for congrats. "You make my heart soar." That's fun for a dinosaur. "Rar" means thank you. Oh, we already heard that one. Sorry. "You are terrific." And then just a plain happy birthday, because that can mix and match with several of the other, birthday sentiments on here. So it's separate on here, so you can add it to more than one. And then our last one here, "Dinosaurs are cool just like you." So if you have boys in your life, you might love this kit, although in just a little bit, we're going to look at some samples And Marianne, as always, pulls out those unconventional color palettes. And you can see that she went to town with making sure that our little girls or big girls can have just as much fun as our guys. This is a stamp set for our Prehistoric Pals, Prehistoric Pals cards. It's a little smaller because our Shape Shaker sets are a little smaller, a little bit fewer shapes usually. But we have sending you a gigantic thank you. Welcome to the world, little one. And that one's particularly cute with this particular shape, the egg and the little baby dinosaur there. And you can see that our Prehistoric Pal shapes, they are a much simpler design than the dinosaurs / mammoth in our other kit. So if you're looking at certain kits and going, oh, I love them, but they have a lot of pieces, look at this one. There's only just the one main dinosaur piece plus the little face pieces. It's fast and easy to put together. So if you're looking for that type of option, you're going to have fun with the Prehistoric Pals kit. Okay, to finish this, hope your day is bursting with fun. Hope your day is dynamite. You and me go way back. So back to a few little bit of razzing people here about their age. No bones about it. You're terrific. Have a roarsome birthday. Welcome to the prehistoric age. Congrats on your new Cutiesaurus. And then for our volcano, I love you. So some fun options there. Okay, let's take a look at some samples. Not just mine, but those from our design team. Let's see if I can pull those up. There is so much creativity on our team. I am amazed and blown away every time I put together a kit. And of course, I kind of have my own vision in my head of what I think I want to make with it. And I love seeing what our team comes up with. Look at Marianne. She pulled in some of those clouds from Foundation 9, and she's got her Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus or whatever dinosaur you want to call this one with his head up above the clouds. Isn't that cute? And I love that she did a square card too, using, I want to say the square is Foundation 16, I believe. All right, and then I already showed you the little baby in the egg from Prehistoric Pals. So these samples I'm showing you first are all from Prehistoric Pals. So that Shape Shaker has 4 shapes in it, and a little less complicated than our other kit, although I think the complication, at least in terms of the pieces, in the other kit are absolutely worth it for the details. But if you like simpler, here's another take on the baby dinosaur, which makes perfect, super cute baby cards. And so this one is also from Marianne. And let's see, next up, here's one from Greta. You can see this was a favorite as we all worked with this particular shape. I did one card for each of our shapes, but it's interesting to watch as the samples come in, which shapes spoke to which designer. This one was very popular. All 3 of us had a lot of fun working with this particular set. I can't wait to see what some of our other designers do as they get to their kits. We only get so many advanced copies of things like the dies and whatnot, so not everyone can take a crack at it right from the beginning. But rest assured, there will be more samples from more of our talented designers coming soon. There is the Stegosaurus here, and here is Greta's take on the Stegosaurus. Plus, she worked in that Big Wishes title on that one. And then here, another look at that tall Brontosaurus. Both of us kind of set a scene. You can see that me and Marianne both chose to add some clouds and some scenery around our tallest dinosaur. And, oh, sorry, here's Greta's take on that one. Let's see, I'm going to look at some comments real fast too. Nita, I can't wait to use a die guide and make a set of all of these. Oh yeah, that makes it a great way to knock out a whole bunch of cards using these. And these papers will work great with all of the die guides. Let's see. Here is the volcano in that set. Again, a fun one to create a scene out of. And there is Marianne's take on the volcano. I love that she did her sentiment from the side. I need to think of that more often. I'm always trying to figure out how to fit it on there, but it doesn't always fit. Oh, and did I mention too, look, all 3 of us chose to add clouds to our Brontosaurus or Apatosaurus dinosaurs. Isn't that funny? Okay, volcano. Okay, so next, let's take a look at fossil friends. This kit, I'd like to hear what your favorite shape is if you haven't already said so, but also, can you guess what mine is? There is this adorable Stegosaurus in here. Let's see. And then here is the mammoth. Like I said, I can't call them all dinosaurs because we also have the mammoth. Here's the full card, so you can also see the big wishes sentiment being used here. And then look, like I said, Marianne, here she goes, breaking out this unconventional or different set of paper pad or colors. She created a beautiful card. Big Wishes has nothing to do with dinosaurs. It's gorgeous in every way. I love that she added the balloon. As always, super creative, Marianne. Here's our pterodactyl. Isn't this fun? I thought he fit well with our congrats on being born a long, long, long time ago card or sentiment. And of course, you have to have a T Rex. It's no good to have a dinosaur set unless, of course, you have the most iconic dinosaur of all time. So there is our T Rex. And then here's another take on the mammoth by Marianne. And how cute is this? She kept the colors real minimal. She didn't use the paper pad except for the browns in the sorry, in the paper pad as well as the shape shaker. Ooh, sorry, been talking too much. Need a drink, just a second. There we go. Now my voice will last a little longer. But yes, I love the woolly mammoth. Very cute here. I love that she created her own background too with cutout hearts and some of these fun little droplet type of bling. Really cute. So you can see that one could work for a lot of different circumstances, especially since she kept it mostly gender neutral there. There is, like I said before, our long neck dinosaur. So you can see why he needs a slightly different shape for the shaker decorative die. So that way we can have that neck going up without it looking awkward. And here's Marianne's take on our Stegosaurus. Again, another iconic dinosaur you just have to have in a dinosaur kit. And I love that this frill is a separate die so that you can change the color on it if you want. Really fun there. There's another look at the Stegosaurus that I did. He just seems so cute and happy. I don't know. He's just a lot of fun. So that is the introduction to the products tonight. And now I think we should maybe have some fun creating with some of these products. What do you think? Tonight I have a plan to do kind of what Marianne did and let me move these out of the way, take a different paper pad to show you how you can incorporate a different set of color scheme to have a different feel as opposed to these very fun but very masculine colors here. So let me pull out my little set of things I set up earlier and move a few other things out of the way here. We're going to need that die in a minute. So I wanted to teach you how to make a strip card, and probably most of you have done it before. Did I show this? Maybe I didn't show this. Each of the kits does come with the die guide to show you how to put things together. Like I said, it couldn't be simpler to create some of these shapes. They're just a couple of dies. Very easy. And same thing for your fossil friends, but of course, more dies, more involved there. But totally worth it in every way. Okay, so artwork, we'll put that away. Let me show you the paper pad I picked out. This time, I picked out the Woodland Wonder kit and pulled the paper pads from that. Let's see what I have here. So you can see, look at what a minimal amount of die cutting I did here. Just a couple of strips using primarily Foundation 8. Foundation 8 has these really good little, what would you call them, border pieces, maybe straight border pieces in various widths. And I think is it 15 or 13? I think it's 15. Also has one. I think that's this shape here. So I pulled that into, and then I went to my Woodland Wonder papers and I cut a bunch of them, as well as a sentiment strip and a few other little accent pieces that we'll get to later. But this is one of my favorite ways to make a card front that is super versatile as well as fast and just, it's an eye catcher, even though it's not that hard. So if you are using one of our paper pads, it's particularly easy because we always have the little variety of the solid tone on tone, or not solid, tone on tone colors with a little, basic pattern to them, as well as the mixed patterns, and they all coordinate. So grabbing one of our paper pads makes this easy. Oh, and this, I cut this with our scalloped border die, just to give a little bit of a whimsical edge. And I know these are discontinued, but if you like border dies, you're going to have a good time seeing some upcoming products in a few months. Hopefully just 1 or 2 months. But they're hopefully with Christmas in July. That's the plan. Hopefully they make them in time. Make it in time. But if you like border dies, stay tuned. So don't need to be sad if you don't have this particular one. All right, so all I'm going to do right now is take that scallop piece and I'm just going to put it at a diagonal. And I'm not going to worry about it hanging off the edges because we're going to do some trimming here at the end. Not even going to worry too much about the glue going off the edges because I'm just going to wipe it up afterwards. But let's go with about an angle about like that. And let's go, I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit. Go with a tone-on-tone paper. Then we're going to go along and do a, more of a mixed color. And we'll do a teeny bit of layering as well. But you'll see how fast and easy this really does start to come together. And maybe while I'm doing this, I can go look. If you have questions or comments, I'm going to check real fast. Joanne says the pterodactyl is your favorite because it reminds you of your son when he was little. Oh, that's fun. That's probably why I like both the Triceratops and the T-Rex. My son here, look, I put in the Facebook group that I was going to do some scrapbooking. And I didn't actually get to the point where I got one done yet, but it's in the plans. You can see I printed out some pictures of him. Now, this was like 20 years ago. He's almost 23 now. But it's still one of my favorite memories of him when he was little with all of his dinosaurs and how he'd line them up and play with them and make all the sounds. So definitely dear to my heart to see the dinosaurs and all the good memories that they bring back. And he was my oldest of 3, so those dinosaurs got a pretty good workout by the other sons behind him. Although I think he was the biggest fan, I think. So you can see I'm just using a variety of widths here in order to keep it interesting. You don't want to get too much of the same thing or else it gets a little bit boring. And let's do a little layering here. So I'm going to take this really skinny gray one. You can see to keep it interesting, I also already pre-die cut with one of our background dies that fun swirly background, just to keep it also, again, interesting and not boring. And I'm going to go right over the seam between some of these papers, which is fun in a lot of ways. One is it just kind of breaks up the widths even more visually, as well as adds a little extra dimension. Cover up some of the seams. If you get anything imperfect, it's good to cover those up. So we got the gray. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it just a little better here. There we go. And let's add another break in the solidness of the colors. Let's see. There we go. And how much more do we want to do? Maybe just one more. We'll pull this little green color in, and then I've got these 2 little pieces. Maybe we'll do some layering with those. You don't even have to plan this out too much. I just cut a bunch of different things and then play it around with, you could lay them out in any number of different varieties here. There's not really a right or wrong, so long as you're mixing and matching the types of, the different colors and the different widths. That's really all there is to it. And this one we're going to layer right across that blue to kind of break up the 2 similar widths on that one. Now it looks and has a different feel to it, even though those 2 pieces are the same width technically. Okay. One more. Do we need this one? Yeah, maybe we'll add a little more pop of yellow. We'll layer this one on top as well. Okay. Also, I'm going to see if I can get these comments going again. Ooh, a purple dinosaur. Yes, that would be very fun. Guess I didn't answer the question too. Did you guys guess which one my favorite dinosaur was? Or my favorite from both of the kits? Actually, the mammoth. He's my favorite. Followed by the Triceratops, I think. I don't know. The T-Rex maybe, but I think the mammoth is my favorite. I think a few of you said the mammoth was your favorite too, right? I don't know. Something about his expression. It's just cute. Okay, so now I've got my strips all done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my die cut machine over. And let's see. We're going to use this large rectangle die from Foundation 3. And I'm going to zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing a little better here. Too far. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to just place number 3 right over the center of our glued down strips here. And of course, this isn't necessary. You could just trim with your scissors if you want, but I kind of wanted to create an additional layered look with with a small white border around my edges. So let me just roll that through. Let me move my glue bottle over. Notice I'm going to be off. Got to pay attention to where my strips end. There we go. So I'm going to roll this right through my Big Shot. And that's going to give just kind of a nice finished edge. You know, like I said, you could trim with scissors, but by running it through the die cut machine with a die, now it's pretty thick. We'll see. Did it go all the way through? Yeah. Yes, it did. Okay. It's pretty thick. It's possible you may need to use your scissors just to get it completely cut. Like I think I've got, nope. Thought I had a little part still attached there, but nope, it worked out okay. So, nice finished edge there. It's just a nice way to keep it very polished and professional looking. Not that you have to do that, but I like to do that when possible. And plus, I just love stitching. You may have noticed all the stitching on all of our foundation dies and all of our kit dies. Well, there's a reason for that. I just love how much texture that adds, and so whenever possible, we try to work that in. Okay, now there's a few accent pieces still in my dish here, but I think the next thing we need to do is create our shaker. So I have chosen to do the Triceratops, and I have already cut out all the pieces. Let me back this up. And I thought, especially those of you who haven't done safari or woodlands might enjoy seeing how this comes together. So let me bring my pieces over. So I've already die cut everything, but if you want to see how this compares to our other similar kits and how you put the Triceratops together, this can be a fun way to watch. And then, of course, all the other shapes are similar. I've got some other pieces over here. Well, I'll bring over the toes. Of course, you have to have cute little toenails on your dinosaurs, or little claws. I don't know. Toenails might be the right word, but got to have all the pieces here. So the first thing you're going to do after you've die cut your different papers is you're going to work on putting your foam together with your base so that you can have your shaker come together quick. So I just removed that back liner, but not the center part. And I'm lining up that backing piece cut with the outline die, which, like I said earlier, is included in the kit. Okay. Now I'm going to pop that center piece out. You know, my sons always liked their dad's bad dad jokes. And dinosaur ones, of course, were a favorite because of the dinosaur love in my house. So I actually printed out some bad dad dinosaur jokes. If you want to hear them, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be quiet. I won't share those. But it reminded me of my kids. Okay, so after you've got the foam center removed, you're ready to add toppings. And I already put together a little bit of a mix that I thought would look cute with the papers that we have here. Most of these are from the Woodland Creatures kit, but a few extra little things from my topping stash. I don't know how full I want it. I usually go with about 40% full. That way there's still room to move around and shake. And yeah, there's still plenty in there. Let me get just a little bit more. That's going to be more like half full. Maybe even slightly more than half, but I like that. It looks good. So next thing we're going to do is pull that top liner off. And let's go ahead and add an acetate cover. Got my trusty Queen & Company logo post-it note, keeping that handy for me. Oh, good thing I had it sealed. There we go. A few of them are sideways, probably because of a little static cling. Usually it's pretty humid today, so I didn't bother, but maybe I should have done a little spray with my spray bottle to keep that from standing up, but good enough. There we go. Next, let's glue. This is what I was talking about before with the decorative cover. Let's add that over the top of our shaker here. You see my yucky glue bottle? It needs to be, need to pull the dry glue off of it. Should have done that before I went live. All right. Did anyone say yes to a dinosaur joke? All right. Sharon said some. Okay. What do you call the ghost of a dinosaur? If anyone knows it, maybe I'll have to look and see if I can afford to give out any other gift cards. If you know it, post it in there. But the ghost of a dinosaur is called a scarodactyl. Of course. Oh, I have too many boys in my house. Of course, not right now. They're growing up and they've moved out, most of them, but still got dad around, of course. So, and my youngest son. So the dad joke's still found. All right, so these are the feet. You can see the feet here are a little different shape. They don't match up necessarily with our feet shapes here, but that's because you have a couple different types of feet. Our carnivores have more of a claw type of foot, and so you've just got kind of a little nub there. You can glue your hind feet on here. And the only thing you want to do there is just make sure they're kind of even. But you didn't want to have something that would match up with this nice big round one, because then it wouldn't work out and match well with your carnivore feet. Okay, now let's get that shaker body glued onto our back body. About so. Looking good. All right, now I'm going to take the tail, and the tail is fun. I could have attached it to the body piece, but I wanted you to have some options for how that would look. You can see I got glue all over. I do that a lot. So for this particular card, we're going to be putting our dinosaur over here. And so I'm going to have the tail kind of come to the left this time. So let's go ahead and glue that down, kind of coming out from behind the feet there, about like that. So we'll just kind of, there's plenty of space here to add a little glue. And then you can kind of play around with the angle of what you like best. Maybe a little higher. Maybe about, tuck it into a little more, about like that. Now we've got our tail on there. Okay, now for our face. Now it can be a little tricky, this particular die. I'm holding it at the right angle for you to see. It has a bit of a narrower chin, but sometimes when you're looking at the die, you might be like, what? It seems awkward or not even. Just make sure you pay attention to where that narrower end is, and that is going to be the face for your Triceratops. I'm going to use a little bit of thin foam tape in order to, let's see, scissors, in order to pop that up just a touch. There's the scissors. Totally optional step, but can add a little extra element of fun. Depends on how much dimension you want on your card, but this is really thin foam tape. This is ultra thin. I often use a Scotch, but this is just about half the width of that, or width is the right word, about half of that. And so if you really just want to keep it dimensional but not too dimensional, that's a good option. Something even thinner. It's about 0.5 millimeter. Okay, now I'm going to use some of this leftover foam to help pop up the head a little bit. I'm going to stick that onto the back of this frill on the dinosaur head. You can kind of see about like that. And we are going to do a little head tilt here. Ends up being very cute when you finish it. I'm not going to attach the head quite yet, though, because once we get it over on our card, I'm going to play around a little bit with just, how far down do we want our head to go. So we'll play with that according to the design. In the meantime, let's put together a couple of little feet. They have a little tiny piece here that, like I mentioned earlier, is the toenails, just to complete the look. This is them right here. They're small, but they add a lot. And of course, they're optional. You wouldn't have to put them on unless you really want to, but not only do they add detail, but they also add a different color, which, upside down, which can make it so your little animal pops a little bit when you have a couple of different colors. And these feet are also going to be put on with a little bit of foam tape just to help them stand out a touch. So let me cut some small pieces off here for that. They're going to kind of hang off the body just a bit, so I don't need foam tape on the whole thing. Don't want to hide our shaker stuff too much. Just want to give the illusion of these front feet being down there. Oops, wrong side. And not covering the body too much. It's about even. Okay. So next piece is this little piece here, which is kind of the support to our horn, our center horn for the Triceratops. And again, it just adds a little bit of extra detail. And again, it's optional. You could leave it off if you prefer to keep your die cuts on the simpler side. There's quite a bit of simplifying you could do by leaving various parts out. Depends on how pressed you are for time or how much you want to mess with the details. There is that. And now we'll glue the little horns on. 3, of course, because it's a Triceratops. All right. So get that horn sticking up just above its little snout support there, like that. Okay. And actually, you know what? I stuck that down perhaps a little further down than I wanted to, but that's the beauty of foam tape. If you haven't had it there too long, maybe even just a touch higher, more centered. There. Okay. We want to make sure we save a little bit of room down there for the mouth, which goes underneath. All right, then just a quick addition here of dot of glue here for each of the horns, about like that. Now we'll have all 3 of our horns on our Triceratops. And you can see she's starting to come together. It's pink, so of course she's a she. Now this is one little tip. You have these tiny little die cuts for the eyes and for the mouth. I always put a little bit of score tape on the back before cutting them, so that afterwards, when I'm ready to stick them down, let me show you, where's my score tape at? So like this. This is a thick double-sided tape that I just put down onto the back of the papers I'm about to cut, and then afterwards I die cut and then I peel off. Like this one is already sticky, you can see it's sticking to my finger. And we'll put a little bit of a cute little lopsided grin here, but then I can just stick it down as if it's like a sticker, and that makes it so much easier to handle and deal with those little tiny die cuts. And I did the same thing with the eyeballs here. So you can see there's the backing still on that one, right? But this one is already loose, so we'll take it and stick it down. This is going to kind of go on the side of the snout here. And I'm going to use a little tool in just a second to kind of maneuver them in place. The other thing I like about using the score tape is that you do have some maneuverability, unlike glue where you might leave a little bit of a glue spot if you were to move it around. Just using a really, really tiny stylus. This is one of my most used tools. It is a tiny stylus. You can see there's a bit of a dot on this end. This end has a bit of a dot, but it's so tiny you really can't see it. But it's perfect for several things, including working with eyes and getting them quite where you want them. So I'm going to use that to straighten them up, push them where I want them to be. Of course, you could also do something like use a pen and just draw the eyes on. Stick them down now that they're in position. You could also do, sometimes I'll pull out some of my puffy paint like this, and I'll just do a little dot for the eyes. And then also, this is a little tiny trick that I'll use, again, with my handy stylus. Sometimes I just want that little bit of sparkle in their eyes. In another former life, I was a photographer. And one of the things you do as a photographer is you're always looking for ways to make sure there's a little sparkle in everyone's eyes when you take pictures. You want that light reflecting. I used to do weddings and family portrait photography. You see that little white dot with this tiny little stylus? I'm just taking my white, this is just regular plain white craft paint. You could use a pen, although these eyes are pretty tiny for a pen. But I find the white paint just is always opaque. It's really inexpensive. Unlike white pens, it doesn't dry up. It always works, even though that bottle is probably like 3 years old. Maybe 5 years old. I don't know. It's an old bottle of paint. Had it a long time. And it should work pretty much forever. Okay. So now we have our cute and sweet little Triceratops all finished. And she is ready to be added to our card front. So let's take a look at the positioning of things here. Where do we kind of want her to be at? Something like that. Actually, I want to keep in mind, let's actually glue this down first. Remember how we used foundation 3 to cut that background? I wanted this to have that little white border around it. I wanted my strips not quite to extend to the edge. Again, just for more interest, more texture. So in order to really gauge the amount of space we have for her, I'm gonna glue this card front right down onto my card base first. That way I can make sure I get things spaced out the way I really want them to be spaced out. Okay, there we go. All right, so now you can see, like, for example, I can put her foot a little closer to the edge. Okay, and then we're gonna keep her head tilt about like that. So let's glue her down. Well, actually, you know what? I've got some more accent pieces. Before we even glue her, I get glue happy, and then I regret afterwards that I glued it down because I want to change it. But let's put a few little accents around the page that I have planned here. Let's glue this one down. We'll match it up with this edge from foundation 3, but then I have this little floral piece to tie in the floral paper. And we'll put that up above that. That way you just get that hint of color and not so much color. We already have a lot of that color going on. I wonder if I should turn her head. Maybe we'll turn her head that way just a little bit this time. What do you think? A that way or B this way? Whoops. For her head. Something like that maybe, huh? A or B? Let me know what you think. And I'll pull the comments up again so I can actually see your answers. Okay. Wendy says B. Let's see. A lot of votes for B. Okay, maybe we'll keep B. Keep voting, though. Okay, Linda says A. I'll try to keep a tab on it. We'll see which one wins. Okay. The other thing we need to do is we need to stamp our sentiment. That is going to go right here. And then, oops, stay put. And then I have a couple of these little accents in here that we can kind of put where we want. I was kind of thinking we'd do something like, if our sentiment goes there, then I can have a little room for just a few little accents around the card. And that's, so see, this is why we didn't glue her down yet. Can put that kind of towards the bottom like that. And then I have these little flowers in here that we can kind of add to that. Let's see. How about here like that? About here like that, maybe? And then maybe one more flower right up to the top to create a visual triangle, maybe? Something like that. But first, let's stamp our sentiment. I am using a precision, or a We Are Memory Keepers Precision Press, I think it's called, if I can remember correctly, with a few little modifications of my own, including some kind of ancient double-sided tape that they're stuck there that isn't quite as sticky as it used to be, but it still gets me by. And let's pick out ink color, maybe something in, should we do blue, green? Maybe the blue. That one close? That's kind of close. Sometimes I have to combine ink colors to get close. Let's try one of those two, and maybe we can get it to look the way we want. And then this one, for this card, we're going to go with one of the sentiments that is designed for the Triceratops. We're going to go with, I hope your birthday is tops. So it'll be a cute and fun little birthday card here. So which one won? I wanted to see. Oh, B. B looks like it's going to be the winner. All right, thanks for voting. B it is, although A got some good votes. But I think if I'm quick scrolling, it looks like B probably won. Okay, you can see I didn't clean my stamp as good as I should have when I used it earlier, but it will still work. Okay, I'm going to use my magnets to kind of hold down the edges of my tag. And then I also have this little tool here that helps me keep things flat. So let's pick up the stamp. I'm using this little tool to help because my tape isn't as sticky as it used to be, and because my magnets are right there on the very edges, I slip this very thin flat tool underneath to hold my my stamp, whatever I'm stamping in place when I lift it up. That way it doesn't move around on me for sure. Okay, let's go. I'm going to go with this darker color first, even though it might be a little bit too blue. Maybe it needs a teeny bit more green or yellow in it. Let's see. Well, that's actually pretty good. But let's go. I'm going to add this slightly more turquoisey one on top. Just this, sometimes when I don't have quite the perfect color, I go ahead and just grab one similar. We'll stamp on top, and then the ink kind of melds together and gets you the perfect color combination. And that looks pretty good. I'll go one more just to make sure everything is good and dark and readable. Okay. There we go. Looks good. All right. Set those aside. All right. And there's our little sentiment. Okay. We're also, sorry, I'm not going to blow on the mic. Try to dry that real fast. Normally I'd set it aside just for a bit to make sure I don't smear it with my fingers. Because I have certainly smeared ink before. I'm sure none of you have ever done that, but I have smeared ink plenty of times and then had to go and re-stamp my sentiment. Because I was over anxious and didn't wait long enough, or got ink on my fingers while I was stamping it and using the ink pad and didn't realize it. All the hazards of stamping. This time I blew on it. Plus, it just depends on the ink, of course, the brand and the type of ink. Pigment ink, usually I have to set that with, if I want to use it quickly, I have to set with some sort of embossing powder. Okay, there we go. Let's get that sentiment up there, going along the top of our diagonal strips of paper. Okay, looks good. All right, now let's get these little circles glued down. Sometimes I would, well, probably more often than not, I would use a little bit of foam tape and pop those circles up a bit, but we'll keep them flat for the sake of time right now. Okay, let me move that out of the way just for a second so I can kind of get that underneath her tail. And it has some direction to it, so we'll try to make sure that is straight up and down. I'm not super type A or OCD about up and down, but some things I am. So well, it just depends on the paper, but okay. So now we can glue her down. Almost feel like she needs a name. She's so cute and so feminine for a dinosaur. So we'll get her down here at the bottom edge, as far right as makes sense. And then just the little tilt of the head here, and a little bit more. Let's see. What do you think? About that way, a little higher? No, probably about here. Just that little tilt of the head, as if she's just kind of cocking her head, saying hello. Cute. Okay. Now our flowers. I'm just going to put a tiny dot of glue only in the center. That way, after they're dry, I can kind of fluff up the petals a little bit. And a little bit on this one. Down here like that. And if you're thinking, oh, the card's about done, I should leave. If you leave, you'll miss the sneak peek. So stick around if you're still watching. Don't leave quite yet, or you'll miss the chance to see what we have coming out Christmas and July wise. Okay, so now I think only thing we need still is maybe some bling. Let's see here. We'll start with just some white pearls in the center of our flowers here. She's got a lot of color because of all those strips of paper. She's got a lot going on there. We don't want to overdo it too much. But she's a girl. She needs a little bit of bling, right? So let's see. Just going to add a couple more little pearls circles around here in order to create more of that kind of visual triangle effect. Move the eye across our card. Make her feel just a touch even more feminine by having some of that bling going on. So something like that. And that gets her complete. What do you guys think? Pretty cute? Okay, here is the earlier sample I created with a Triceratops from the papers in the Fossil Friends kit. So you can kind of see now how you can change it up, make it different just by changing the papers. And that's really a fun and easy look to recreate. Simple, particularly if you have Foundation 8. So, thanks for watching that part. And now, before we go, let me pull out a couple of fun things. Now, if you've been on the website, you've already kind of gotten a bit of a sneak peek of this card right here. This is part of what's coming for our Christmas in July sale, and there is a lot of great stuff coming for that. But this is a new endless shaker, right? So it has the traditional endless die. This one's a fun new wavy border die that we haven't done before. It also has some new sentiments in there that we haven't done before. And then my favorite part, check this out. Look at how cute and how adorable Santa and Mrs. Claus's laundry is. Isn't that great? But that's not all of the shapes that are in that set. Look at this. Here's a never before seen card. This is from that new set coming out. And look at the long underwear. How cute is that? And of course, there is some stuff for the elf. Look at the boxers. I mean, there's just so much fun stuff that you can do with this kit. And of course, it's an endless shaker. So there's lots of different ways you can mix and match it with our other endless kits. And there may be additional other fun laundry add-ons coming afterwards. So if you think that's cute, if you think that would be a lot of fun to do as Christmas cards, I think it would make a lot of recipients really smile. That is your sneak peek for what is coming for Christmas in July. Yeah, Wendy, for once I love laundry. Exactly. The good kind of laundry, finally. So all kinds of great stuff. So thanks for joining me tonight. Be sure and check out all of the great parts of the Fossil Friends and Prehistoric Pals brand new shaker card kits. Have a blast with them. And thanks for joining me tonight, everybody. Have a great Thursday night. Bye.